Keno Westbrook, don't you?
Welcome, folks. It is episode 7 of the Dynasty Hour. I'm Jagger May. You can find me on all the social medias at Fantasy Blue Chip. And with me are the other 3 horsemen of the fantasy apocalypse. It's Fantasy Jesus, Justin Herrera, and then with me as well, Chuck Bass. I think he's famine. I don't know. You can find him at Chuck Bass. And then Mr. Mallard, Andrew LeDuc. You can find him at Real Mr. Mallard. I'm only saying this for the folks at home that are listening on Spotify. Anyone else can read. Why are you guys giggling? What the hell? Did someone fart or something?
No, I'm laughing because I'm just thinking of all the people out there that just turned us off because you just put someone referenced as Jesus in the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. that's what got me laughing right off the bat.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay, cool. So it worked because I'm just like, how do I tie these things together? Apocalypse and Jesus, hand in hand, and then like I don't know, man. I gotta spice up these openers. Go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead.
Chuck's on mute.
Oh, Chuck's muted.
Or he's
I was like,
just the way I like you.
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, no, I was laughing because you were like, you can find me on all my socials, Fantasy Blue Chip, and here's these other 3 fucking guys. Like, your tone went like nosedived on us.
Can I say why I was laughing though?
Might as well.
Yeah,
I was laughing because I finally saw Chuck's shirt, and he knows it and I know it. We're both fucking Always Sunny fans, and I love the dentist system.
Yes.
I just started reciting in my head.
Wait, don't tell me you wore that earlier.
I told my girlfriend I was demonstrating value the other day. She's like, "You don't have to be out here." I was like, "I'm demonstrating value."
Yeah. Well, she doesn't want to hear that because she knows that means the separate entirely is coming.
Oh yeah.
But first, you got to engage physically.
That's true. That's true. All right. I guess that's a good segue. I'll be more excited for the rest of you guys next time. I started hot and
really
then like I blew almost.
Who else is on the show? Justin, Andrew.
What's your name? Chuck.
What's Jagger?
Also known as who the fuck is Chuck?
You ain't lying.
I will slide right into news and nonsense.
Fuck you.
News and nonsense. You guys stop. News and nonsense.
Just need to give us a little break there.
It's the Comedy Central roast of Chuck Bass. That's our first news. But to go into the actual news, D-Hop is released, guys. Something happened. D-Hop is released. So first, where will he go? Chuck, since you got roasted, I will allow you to go first. You go ahead, sir. Where do you think D-Hop will go, and what is the best fantasy value for us for
I personally think that Tampa Bay is the best fit for. No, I'm just kidding. Truly, I'm honestly just going to go chalk here. I think he would be a smash on the Bills. I think that the template lately has become championship teams, or at least teams with championship inspirations, acquiring a veteran superstar, and he is still a superstar. I referenced Tampa because of the Antonio Brown situation there. I think AB on the Bucs is DeAndre Hopkins' floor. I mean, he's only about to turn 31. He's an elite route runner still. He makes guys like, AJ Brown look like Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He creates windows that don't exist with his catch. His body control. I think he's still as good as any receiver in the game. And physicality has never been really his strong suit. So he's going to fit in anywhere that he goes. He's not going to lose steps like Deshaun Jackson or anybody who rely on, burning people and dusting them.
Okay, that's definitely a take. I did not have the Bucks, but seeing as you the Bucks fan,
Bills.
I should have guessed
Bills.
that. Oh, Bills. Oh,
I thought you
okay.
said Bucks
Thank
too.
God. Yeah, I was like,
I was about to
Chuck,
shit
what?
on you.
I was like, Chuck, what do you do? We're professionals here.
Sorry, I thought I said that part.
Baker Mayfield season incoming.
Yeah. I don't think that the Bills have a wide receiver on the squad other than Diggs who's better than a C-. And I think that would take an offense. This is already one of the best in the league to one of the best we've ever seen. So I think that would be a smash.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. That makes a lot. But personally, I think the Chiefs there because they keep saying Kadarius Toney, wide receiver 1. They keep showing Justin Ross catching a pass. That was a narrative we talked about like first episode that I thought was going to die with our first episode, and it's back. So I think that Hopkins is the guy. Justin, give us your wisdom. What do you think is the best fantasy spot? Do you think it's the Chiefs? Do you think it's the Bills? Because like all what Twitter is saying, it's an arms race. So where do you want him to go?
If I want to pick him at his current like round 6-7 valuation, yeah, I definitely want him to go to the Chiefs because that makes him the automatic day 1 wide receiver 1. I know, Travis Kelce's technically the number 1 option, but he's technically a tight end too. So I think that's the perfect spot for him. What I do kind of want to happen, and this is just me being selfish about this, I want to see Baltimore go all in and go all old school for one season. Put Lamar in there. Let's see if Lamar can really be a 4,000-yard quarterback, and let's freaking go. But if we want to talk about fantasy, it's Chiefs all the way. Bills are a close second.
Damn you, Justin. I was going to say Baltimore.
You can say New England now.
You're not.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say like New England. Come on now.
We can say New England. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I know the rumors are still out there, but it doesn't feel like New England. I said from the start that I didn't necessarily think D-Hop's style of game was necessarily what is going to be needed in New England right now. My backup choice then, since you said Baltimore, I think it would be fun to see him in Chicago alongside DJ Moore and Justin Fields. I think that would be a fun little spot to see what D-Hop can do. I don't know if he has any interest at this point playing in the cold in Chicago, but I think from a fantasy standpoint and just a football standpoint, that could be interesting in that division.
I think that's a really good one. I like that a lot because you guys and both of you guys mentioned teams that are like the big trend has been teams that think they have a chance to raise their bar, and you guys both mentioned, so I think that would be, that's the AJ Brown, the Tyreek Hills, these Diggs, all these wide receivers that have made offenses like jump. So I think those are both great spots.
Thank you.
I've actually pivoted. I agree with Andrew.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. I think the Bears is the best spot. Yeah, the Bears is easily the best spot because, like, you want to talk about the Chiefs. At least they have Tony. You can at least like imagine and squint your eyes that Kadarius Toney is a wide receiver 1, and then you can kind of squint and then think that I don't know like, who is after the Chiefs. I don't know. Like the Bears, it's really bad. The Bears, it's really bad.
The only thing that would make me nervous about a Bears or a Baltimore would be like, what if neither one of those quarterbacks can actually do it, even though we all believe they could? That would be my only major concern, minor concern, but that would be it. I would still love it, but that would be my hesitation.
Okay, are you guys concerned about age at all? Because he hasn't like finished a season in a while. Like, is like personally for me, for Dynasty, I will not be buying D-Hop because I build my fantasy teams through quarterback and receiver. Basically, I want to be stacked at receiver. So I don't have a team that would ever need D-Hop at all. Like, I bought Deontay Johnson, and I thought that was me dating older women. So like D-Hop, I don't even consider like that in my wheelhouse whatsoever. And then the reports of him losing a step. And I didn't know he had a step to begin with. He was never fast. So we'll swing back around to you, Andrew. Are any of these concerns, these a reason for you to not have D Hop? Are you going to buy him at all? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to still, if he were to end up on one of the teams we just said, I'm gonna buy him still. I subscribe to the theory that I don't think D Hop in the last couple seasons in Arizona was necessarily rushing back from injuries. Now that we kind of get a peek behind the curtain of how dysfunctional that franchise has been under the quarterback leadership of Kyler Murray, so I'm not convinced he was rushing himself back anyway, so I think he might be healthier than we think he is from the surface level. So I'll take the chance on him. If I am taking the chance on him in Dynasty, I would probably say he had a good season. I'd probably be looking to flip him in the offseason next year, but I'm looking to get one good season out of him, depending on where he lands.
Okay, I think that's a good way to end it, and we'll talk about another vet that isn't released, but it's the same as D Hop. He's like in all of our minds, he's not on this team, and if he is, he's not really on this team because he's going to reduce the role. Let's talk about Dalvin Cook. Now that we've had so many bad landing spots for rookies or perceived bad landing spots, we'll talk about one area later. Where do you think is the best spot for Dalvin Cook to go? Are you buying him? Justin, back to you.
Best landing spot is probably Miami because they have so much dysfunction there. It'd be a Miami or a Chicago where you clearly don't know who the lead back is going to be there. So it kind of just leaves the door wide open for somebody like Dalvin Cook who can go in there and have a couple special games. I am officially passing on Dalvin Cook this year, to answer your question. This is the first year I have said no to Dalvin Cook. I have a feeling just like DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of people are going to get crazy about the buzz and they're going to go a little bit earlier than they should. And I'm just not one of the guys that's going to jump that gun. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with both DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook.
That makes, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I don't even believe in running backs. You want to talk about dating older women? Dalvin Cook, who is Dalvin Cook to me? I don't see him at all. Chuck, you and I are both about that zero RB life. So for you, where do you think he'll land at? I'll throw an idea at you. I personally like seeing him on the Cowboys because they've been very clear that they don't want to give Tony Pollard. They like Tony Pollard for what he is. They like him in like a change of pace role, and they don't want him to be Zeke. So I could see Dalvin Cook being in that Zeke role with a little bit more oomph to a step. I've always thought he's been made out of glass, but like if you look at it statistically, I think I'm a little bit stretching. What do you think?
I like that fit for sure, especially for how verbal they've been about how their philosophy shouldn't change. I like him to the Rams. I like a Rams team that isn't ready, is going to wave the flag in from a win standpoint, but I still think they're going to have a pretty good offense. I still trust Stafford if he's on the field. Kupp is still one of the 3 best receivers in the league. McVay is as good of an architect of the run game as anybody in the league. And I don't think they have to use grades again. I don't think they have a running back on the team that's better than a C-, unless you believe in Zach Evans. And I mean, I'm not going to say I know too much about him, but I don't really. So I like him to go somewhere California-esque, get out of that Minnesota, go live on the beach, go bang, I don't know, former OnlyFans models or something, whatever it is he needs to do. And I mean, I watched his tape last year. I still think he's got it. I don't think he's peak, but I still think he could be one of the 10 to 15 best running backs in the league. And if they can pull their line together, that's a buy to me. There's not a lot of places he's a buy, and I'm not loving his trajectory, but somewhere like that is a buy for me. And I'm, like you said, I'm not a running back guy.
Yeah, and like especially, this pivot away from Dynasty. Actually, we'll talk about Dynasty. I would buy Dalvin Cook in Dynasty. Like, let's say I need especially an RB2. I think Dalvin Cook is like a second right now, a second rounder, and I would throw that at Dalvin Cook. I would feel gross. I would need to use Listerine afterwards. I probably would need a hot shower. But if he would help me get some points, like I would definitely take him. Some other stuff that we'll just power through and then we can tack on to a different show. Trey Lance reports that he's getting all the first team reps, and Sam Darnold is getting the QB2 reps. I'll just give the analysis that we all know. No shit. Everyone's been telling you to buy Trey Lance for a reason. Like, that's what you should have been doing. So we'll just shove past that, and we'll pay some bills with Underdog.
Underdog Fantasy is here to save your post-fantasy football season blues. The easiest place to play and win with the Underdog Fantasy app. Get up to 20 times your money in a single night with our Pick'em contests. Grab some insurance when setting your picks and win even when one pick fails. Go online now and use the promo code TSS to double your deposit up to $100. Sit gingerbread, good girl.
And more on Underdog. It is Best Ball Mania. Make sure to use that code, guys. I'm in a slow draft right now. I didn't realize just how slow Underdog slow drafts are. I've only made 3 picks in 48 hours, but I do have Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith. Right now, folks, if you listen to us, you could crush it on there. And so use our code. Moving on. We're going to play Fantasy Succession, folks, and we're going to do it one team at a time. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. It just happened to be Jaguars theme. I'm not even going to pretend that we're going to stay on this theme, but we're going to take a look at an incumbent player and then a new player that just entered the chat. And we're going to see who is going to take over, who is going to be the Tom Wamsgam, who is going to be Shiv. Chuck's already claimed that as going to be a negative Nancy. And then we're going to bring in a new element. Granted, there's some other news about Shannon Sharp, but if you are watching at home, you'll see skips, and we have 2. We're going to be debating here. So if anyone wants to interrupt, we're going to give the Shannon Sharp skip, and you're going to scream. You don't have to scream. Yeah. You guys can just be modest. Yeah. Skip. And they will just don't use them. I will take them away. Don't use them. And they will get to interrupt with their opinion. So look out for that, folks. And we'll start with ETN versus Tank Bigsby. This is a hot topic on Twitter right now. A lot of people are still on the ETN bandwagon hard. They still think he's like the greatest player since sliced bread, and they don't believe in Tank Bigsby. And then you have the reciprocal, like me and Chuck. We think that Tank Bigsby is the greatest player ever, and he is going to be the new Ezekiel Elliott. I don't actually believe this, but I think he's very good at cost. So, Chuck, we'll start with you with this one. Who do you have in the ETN versus Tank Bigsby debate?
I have whoever isn't Travis Etienne, and that's gonna sound worse than I mean it. I like him. I think he's explosive, and I think he can cut east-west with the best of them. But fewer running backs are ever given better opportunity and situation than he was last year, and I think he fumbled the bag when it comes to his ceiling. His opportunity that he was given last year usually encroaches on like a top 7-8 finish. He really didn't deliver anywhere near that. Like I said, it's not even really about Tank Bigsby. I just want a potential number 2 in a Doug Peterson offense. Going back to Philly, he's mixed in guys that are far less talented than Tank is. I mean, ETN coming out of school, he was touted as this, pass-catching phenom. He's going to crush with Lawrence. And he caught less passes than Rex Burkhead last year. And that was before they added Calvin Ridley. So I'm just it's a hard pass. It's an Uber pass. It's an overpass. I pass.
Yeah, and just to hammer at it, like Travis Etienne is still the RB7, and I mean that's behind Jahmyr Gibbs, and I don't know the skills too. That's a shortcut. Like I said, keychain cut means nothing and everything, so just take that with a grain of salt. And I don't know. I thought, what point is Travis Etienne going to be a value? I'll swing it back to you, Andrew. Do you think that Etienne's going to be value at this? Are we going to get outpriced for Tank Bigsby? Because we have all these value swings in fantasy all the time. So what do you think that's going to happen? I think it's going to be training camp. We're going to see that Etienne is going to be a value, and that Bigsby is going to be kind of overpriced. Or am I wrong? Is it just going to be Etienne or Bigsby all the way across the wall?
So here is what I'm curious about with this situation.
Andrew,
is
am I lagging?
You're lagging pretty hard. I'm hoping I heard your question fully. So we're just going to talk about Travis Etienne here for a couple seconds.
Yeah. Where do you land on this?
Yeah. So here's how I feel about Etienne. I am maybe taking a bit of a stubborn approach with ETN because I was on him last offseason touting him as one of my top 10 dynasty running backs last season and catching flack for that. But I still like him. And here's what I'm curious about with this running back situation in Jacksonville. It's starting to feel like the way the Patriots have run their backfields, and that while, because we saw it with, just Damian Harris, and then they pick up Ramondre Stevenson. They run Damian Harris hard for a year and then let the other guy take over. This feels like, they just did that with James Robinson and then Travis Etienne. This feels like the Travis Etienne year, and then maybe end of the year or next year, then all of a sudden Tank Bigsby takes over. I'm curious to see if that's how it plays out. It's a little bit of a stubborn view on it from my side, but I still like ETN for his potential in this offense with the way Trevor Lawrence plays and the way that offense is going to be able to spread out if Ridley is even a shell of himself that he was in Atlanta.
Justin,
give me like a.
No, go ahead, Jagger.
I was going to ask Andrew, give me a split on there, like, because basically they've came out multiple times, and we just got another sleeper report that said that they don't want to give Travis Etienne a 75% snap share anymore. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that they want to go 50-40? Does that mean that they want to go 60 or 60-40? I guess there's still Jermichael Hasty in there. So to me, I don't know what this backfield looks like. So I would rather just have Bigsby at cost and hope that he would get more of the goal line rolls, because ETN wasn't even getting the goal line roll when he was getting 75% snap share. So like that's just what scares me. So I don't know. What are you betting on? Do you still think that ETN's going to be the lead back?
I do think he's going to be the lead back. Like I said, with the way I'm viewing the take, I see him at like around a 65% target, 65 to 70% touches share in that backfield, I feel like.
Okay. Well, we're going to come back to you, Andrew, because I don't know. We got to hear what Justin says, because you surprised me with that answer. Like, it's always Justin or Andrew are like a complete fucking wild card sometimes. Because like Chuck, I guess I kind of know because we have like similar philosophies. But I'm like, I know what Andrew's going to say. And he's like, no, actually, So
what the fun part about that is, Jagger, is that I don't even know what I'm going to say until it comes out of my mouth. So
I like that.
So Justin, let's wake up to you. Where are you at now? Where are you at on the debate? What side are you?
Well, I guess I'm on the Andrew side because I actually do have faith that Travis Etienne is going to step his game up. I do like what's coming out of camp with Tank Bigsby, and I think that he's on to something and saying that it might be something of a slower year that leads into something bigger down the line. Obviously, the team missed James Robinson. They don't want to say it because they traded him away for a pick, but they missed that goal line presence, right? So that's what I've been saying on the show ever since we started it. I think Tank Bigsby has a role on the goal line, which can get you fantasy points. But I think that Travis Etienne is the guy that's going to get you to the goal line. I look at this as something at best would be a 60-40 split. And that's even, like I said, taking out Jermichael Hasty at that point. So, who knows? Maybe Jermichael Hasty gets 5 to 10% of that carries. But where does it come from?
Yeah.
I doubt it's going to be taken away from ETN. They seem to like this guy. If I'm correct, he was a college teammate of Trevor Lawrence as well, right? He went to Clemson. Yeah. And he was a first-round pick. So first-round pick running backs, if they're not injury-prone, they tend to get the duration of that contract. They tend to run them into the ground for the duration of that contract and then send them on the road. So I'm not saying that Tank Bigsby can't be there and can't be relevant. I'm just saying most likely what they're going to go philosophy-wise is give it mostly to ETN, get him down there, and then maybe work Tank Bigsby into the goal line type of stuff. So, yeah, I'm going with about 60-40 with ETN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are right to where his ceiling is very much like
that I'm going to push back on. And
It's just a little lag.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mute Jagger for now until we know for sure he's back clear.
I would say you guys. I'd say you guys are right in the mold of like there's a real situation where ETN is like peak Aaron Jones or what we saw from Tony Pollard last year, where even with another running back in the room might actually accentuate what he's good at and give him more of an opportunity to rip off chunk plays, to take passes, especially with, maybe he's not necessarily a focal point of the offense and more of an ancillary piece that gets to, work in the open field. So I can definitely see that scenario. I wouldn't be surprised in any way if that's what happens.
Rack up those.
But to Justin's point that he made earlier about
go ahead.
To Justin's point earlier about ETN's draft capital, does an Urban Meyer first round draft pick matter? Like to me, it's kind of like well, so and so in my league has a first round pick, but like.
Yes,
that's different though. Like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was like a consistent, consensus top pick. Yeah, consensus. I can't say that word. I don't know why I'm butchering that. But he was a consensus top pick. Mm-hmm. No one was saying Travis Etienne. You got it. You like basically Urban Meyer was a guy that was like chasing an unnecessary stack. He's like, I got Trevor Lawrence. I have to get Travis Etienne to get that stack, bro. And I'm like, that's not the way you should have built that roster. So that's why
he's stacking.
And again, yeah, I'm not saying that Travis Etienne is bad. I'm just saying that like I do not consider the first round draft capital as a factor in this case. To me, he's like a third rounder still. He's a day 2 pick. In my head, he's a day 2 pick still.
See, but I kind of chalk that up a little bit to Trevor Lawrence possibly having a voice in that. So you say trying to stack. I think there's still a chance that Trevor Lawrence was really fighting for him behind the scenes to bring him there because he knows what he can do with him. And if that is the case, I'm willing to take a chance that he's going to fight for him still currently in the offense today and try to get him on the field as much as he can and use him when he is on the field. Like they're still young enough and unknown enough in the NFL and in this offense that there's still a chance that they can redeem that college magic. And I think it's a worthwhile chase.
So with the whole receiving aspect on there, let's come down to earth. They have Christian Kirk, which we're going to bring up later. They just brought in Calvin Ridley. They had Evan Ingram, who finally Evan Ingram the way that we thought he could. And then they just drafted Brenton Strange. That could not matter at all. I'm just saying that he's there and we have to consider him. So like, what is this? Like you were already saying he's going to get 60% target share. And then on top of that,
total touches. And then we're going to assume he's going to get the receiving work. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around it. I don't know. I guess it's 50-50. You guys comment. Ask us on Twitter, give us your opinion. You guys probably will, whether we're asking you or not, because this is a hot topic. So this is just, I guess, in my opinion, a great segue to actually talk about receivers here. Actually, before we got to talk about real trades. ETN, the 112 and a 24 first for Marquise Goodwin in the 102. So essentially, Anthony Richardson. Andrew, which side of this trade do you like? Sorry, I was actually going to look up a stat, but I'm gonna skip that now. What was the question? Oh, sorry, I was in Pro Football Reference when you asked that.
No, that's fair. That's fair. We can circle back to that. Answer the question.
Circle back.
Look at that stat. I want to hear. Yeah, okay. ETN the 112 and a 24 first for Marquise Goodwin. So basically nothing in the 102. So ETN 112, 24 first for Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young. Let's just say a rookie QB.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, when I don't believe in the QBs of this draft class, so I'm keeping the ETN side. In my opinion.
Yep.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm standing firm with my belief in what I said.
I'm not I'm not throwing away a chance at a top 5 fantasy quarterback ever for a bunch of guys that won't play more than 6 years in the league. That is an absolute fucking smash on the 1.02. Bring me Anthony Richardson. Bring me the 10 years of Bryce Young. Either way, Give me the love. Give me the love.
Yeah, Justin's about to throw up, so you go ahead, Justin.
What?
What do you love? What do you love?
I love you, Chuck, because you're always willing to bite that bullet and go to the other side. I love it. You are the perfect devil's advocate. But I'll tell you this: if you don't go for the ETN and 2 first-rounders for Marquise Goodwin and Anthony Richardson, oh come on now, come on.
Marquise Goodwin was one of the best wide receivers in the state of Seattle last year. Top 3, easily.
Is that counting high school?
I don't. Yeah, it's like I don't even.
No.
In that market?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I was like, there's a lot happening there. Seattle's not a state. 2.
Did I not say Washington? Fuck,
like
I said
they're a
that.
state.
I said that in my head. Whoops.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's fair. It's fair. Like, regardless, I think it's questionable if he was like the top like 3 wide receiver in the state of Seattle.
Mhm.
But I think I was firmly on the Richardson side. But it's 2 fucking firsts, man. 2 firsts and a 24 first. That's hard for me to pay. Granted, this is one of those things we were talking about pre-show. I don't want either side of this trade because I don't want ETN. I would take the first. I guess you could flip ETN. So I guess you could flip ETN. I don't like taking on players I don't believe in. So we'll go to the next trade. Chuck, we'll start with you. ETN for Eckler in the 207. Which side do you want?
Oh, fuck me. That's probably actually going to be the ETN side because the 2.07, that's well past my cutoff range for somebody that I feel like I can believe in. So now you're telling me ETN or Eckler straight up, basically that's an ETN assance. It's ass ETN season.
We're not simpatico this round, Chuck, because like it's not even a question to me that like Eckler is the alpha. Like I hate that term, but he's the alpha. There is him, and there is the ghost of what people thought Isaiah Spiller was supposed to be. So I'll just take that smash every time. And they just got a new offensive coordinator that did magic with Pollard. So smash. And then at 207, we just talked about him. Plot twist: the 207 could be Tank Bigsby. So you could essentially get Tank Bigsby and Eckler for ETN. That's not even a question. Justin,
I would take the gamble that ETN is good over the next 4 or 5 years over the hope that they use Eckler like they've been using him, and then some draft pick that I don't give a fuck about.
How do I use this skip? I can't write. Justin, go ahead. You go ahead. I'll say.
I'm gonna totally agree with Jagger on this one because he took away my exact argument. You can literally get Tank Bigsby and Austin Eckler. Guess what? You get 2 elite years out of Austin Eckler. That's 2 fantasy championships for me, buddy. I don't give a shit about your 5 years of crappy ass ETN, middle of the road ETN, RB3 ETN. I'll take the RB1 for 2 years, and then I'll take your replacement, and I'll go win a championship with your replacement. Boom, shakalaka. I don't know how you don't do it, but once again, Chuck, I love you for playing devil's advocate.
Yes. Brother, testify.
You want to cut my head off, Andrew? You want to finish this job? Murder scene?
You know what? I'm going to be nice and just say I agree with the other 2 above you right now. So
if they stop using Eckler in the passing game like they do, he's barely an RB1.
So here was the stat I was looking up in reference to ETN because Jagger brought up a good point about now that Ridley's there, how are they going to get ETN the touches in the passing game? And all I have to say is that the Jaguars were right around right around 600 total passing attempts, which was good enough for top 10 in the NFL last year. So I think there will be plenty of passing attempts to go around for the team to work ETN in to still be PPR relevant.
So that's 2 on this side, 2 on that side. I get it. I appreciate it, Andrew.
Austin Eckler has 25 touchdowns rushing in the past 2 seasons. How many does Travis Etienne have?
You can factor that. How many do you have at Clemson? I don't know, like something like 42, 25, something like that. You can factor in touchdowns to your equation if you want. I will not be factoring touchdowns into my team. I'll be factoring in Age, usage, and coaching staff. That's what I'll be factoring.
Remember that when we talk about receivers another time.
Yeah, I was about to say. I want some counter stats in here now because, like, I'm going to circle back to ETN later. We're just going to power through it. Ridley versus Kirk is the next one in fantasy succession. Kirk, he got overpaid, but it turns out he was worth that money because he balled out at least for most of the season. And then they bring in Ridley because they want to be extra good, and it's better to have two good receivers than just the one. Ridley has barely played in 2 seasons, so let's just put a pin in that. Trevor Lawrence. Okay, I guess I wasn't going to wait too long. I'll just say it now. Trevor Lawrence was 4th in target to slot receivers. So to me, I'm still going to bet on Christian Kirk. I like betting on people that have played football recently. And I have Calvin Ridley. I cannot move him for what I think is a fair share. We'll start with you, Justin. Where are you at on the Ridley Kirk debate?
You know what? Shit, man. I like both of them. I do agree with you. Kirk, because of the fact that the last guy who missed 2 seasons of football, it didn't turn out very well for him his first season back. Deshaun Watson. But I mean, shoot, you say 4th to slot receivers. I pose this question: what the fuck else did he have? What else did he have?
Skip.
All right, go ahead.
I got the argument right there because I got the stat pulled up in front of me. I'm Mr. Stat Guy tonight. Would you believe me if I told you that Zay Jones is the number 2 guy there last year in 15 games started, 16 played though, 121 targets, 82 receptions for 823 yards and 5 touchdowns. I'd say that's a pretty surprising year from Zay Jones.
He was excellent.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, Zay Jones got me to a championship.
And no, it's all good. I was looking up Evan Ingram, but he actually had a pretty fine season too. Think about that though. You combine Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram stats, short range beats you. Ding.
You know what?
No, I'm just kidding.
Touche.
Chuck, where are you at? On the what side are you?
I'm whoever's cheaper because I think their stats are going to be extremely identical come season end. I think Ridley's an excellent wide receiver. I love a lot of what he's got, but his ADP, especially right now, and his value is not really baked in. Like he's missed much time. He's I think something around wide receiver 27. Kirk is going to be in that 34. I basically look at them. They're not a poor man's Chase Higgins because I don't think they deserve that, but they're definitely like a Florida bath salt man's Tyreek and Waddle. I think that they both bring similar skill sets to the table, and I think it's all going to be about who they've got a smart quarterback. And I think Evan Ingram's still going to be heavily involved. I know people have written his ass off. I think that whoever's going to be open is who Trevor Lawrence is throwing the ball to. So I'll just take the cheapest option possible, and I'll be happy to have it.
So skip. Does this ruin Zay Jones?
Yes.
Does this
100%.
absolutely ruin Zay Jones?
I think so.
I think it makes him Tyler. I think it makes him Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But like
where he'll pop off and when on a random week where someone has to sit or something like that.
So best ball, love it. Best ball, last pick, Zay Jones.
Yeah, it ain't a bad
because yeah, that's true. Because I couldn't even move Zay Jones when he was balling out. Like people were like angry that I was sending a trade for Zay Jones, and I'm like, bro, he was like consistent wide receiver 2 numbers sitting in my flex. Turns out the league I'm in is getting smarter, and they follow me on Twitter when I was saying that you should sell Zay Jones. So what? So like I said, I think I'm on the Kirk side because of the targets to slots. He's young, and like I said, he's played football recently. It's scary when you don't play football. When some of the best athletes in the world don't consistently hit you over a long period of time, and then you go in the game and then they start hitting you, it is not good for production because you're just not used to that. You can do all the simulations. You can like run in a fucking pool and then post like route running videos on Instagram. It just does not translate. So Truck brought up a point about who's cheaper. So I need to start posting listen and ask for some of the left shiner. I don't know if it's this bad out there, but apparently Christian Kirk costs nothing. So we have Kirk for the 23 fourth and a 23 second. Chuck, where are you at on that side of the trade?
Can you give me the picks again? It was Kirk for
a 23 fourth and a 23 second.
Absolutely. That's a don't even think that's a rollover. Check your phone. I'm not even returning this booty call. I'm going to sleep because I like what I got laying next to me. I'm fucking crushed.
On Kirk or the picks? I was confused by
Kirk,
that.
baby.
Like, Kirk.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Best receiver in the state of Seattle.
It's Kirk for me. It's also a little bit dependent. If Jaden Reed or Josh Downs are on the board, I'm not taking this trade. I would rather have Jaden Reed or Josh Downs. But if they're off the board, this is a smash for me because, like, what is a fourth rounder? You can just buy another one with some garbage on your bench when the fourth round actually happens. Andrew, where you at with this? The picks or Kirk?
No, I like Kirk here too. I do agree that I prefer Kirk this year for the state, as Chuck said. I think him and Ridley will have similar stats in the end, but Ridley is obviously just more of a risk because of we don't know. Does anyone even have a report on what he's looked like? Has he shown up to the facility yet? Like, what kind of shape is he in? Like,
he looks great. He
Okay.
looks returned to form from video.
Yeah, they have videos of him catching one-handed passes and everything.
Yeah. So odds are it's looking good for him then, sounds like. But to that point, I still think they will have pretty similar results. So I'll stick with Kirk in that trade example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Justin, are you going to differ? Are you going to pivot from the crowd?
No, I'm with these two guys. Yep. If you're
So
if you're looking for a slot receiver in the draft, just get Christian Kirk.
Yeah, he costs nothing.
Yeah, I think he could have I think if you're he's in a great situation now right now. I think he could have a very Brandon Cooks-esque career if he plays his contract out because I think his skill set's very similar and I think he can slide on to another team and still contribute. If you're worried about down the line production, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
It's a fair
Christian
comparison.
Kirk to the Rams incoming.
Yeah. Ooh. I like that as long as they get an actual quarterback. Here's another trade. The 212, the 305, almost the same trade. This is even better. I'm just going to shove past this. It's the Kirk side, the 212, the 305 for Kirk, the 311, the 403. So essentially you're going to trade back 2 rounds and get Kirk. That's like a no-brainer. We're going to shove past this. We're going to look at Ridley's value. You're going to get, now you're going to get Ridley and OBJ for Davis Mills, Robert Woods. So nothing. Davis Mills and Robert Woods are nothing. And then you're going to get a 24 first and a 24 third. Which side of that? I'll start with you, Chuck.
This will be the first time in my life I'll say I'll take the picks because I don't think you're going to get premium production for Ridley over time versus what you could have a 10-year career for a first round potential 2024 wide receiver. And the person that's making that trade sounds like a fucking asshat. So it's going to be a high pick. He's probably mismanages the shit out of his team. So I think you're looking golden there.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Like, I don't know if OBJ does anything for me. What about you, Justin? Like, does like Odell Beckham Jr. be like, yeah, let me throw away my 24 first for?
Can you say that trade to me one more time? I just got to make sure I heard that right the first time.
You're gonna get Ridley and OBJ for Davis Mills and Robert Woods. Again, nothing. And the 24 first and a 24 third. So essentially it's a 24 first and third for Ridley and OBJ. You essentially think that Ridley's worth a 24 first and OBJ's worth a third. And then you get garbage along with that too. It's like you get this bag of candy, but I left wrappers.
Yeah. No, I got you. So it seems like a trade of a guy who's trying to be like a top dog, like a 10 to 12 pick right there, because he's like trying to be like, oh, let me take the old guys off your team and I'll give you a couple of picks.
Yeah.
And so for me, I look at that, I'm like, oh, I don't know about you. You know what? I'm definitely gonna take the OBJ and the Kirk side. I like it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm that type of guy where I'm like, if I can get ahead I'm not going to give you a first round pick for that shit, but for OBJ. But for Kirk, I'll take that. He's still relatively young. He's going to be productive. And OBJ for a third, and I don't have to deal with Davis Mills or Robert Woods on my team anymore. I'm all about clearing out that space.
Nice.
I just think you could
folks,
get a much better wide receiver than Calvin Ridley over time with that offer. I don't think that seems like a buy. You're lowering your potential ceiling with that package.
I hear you, but that's exactly why we would need team clarification on that one.
Yeah,
because if I'm seeing it in my head, I'm like, this is a guy who's just trying to fucking win now. So he's not going to give you like a 3, 4, or 5 pick. He's going to give you a 10 or a 12 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And like, is it his own 24 first, or does he have spare 24 first? Because that doesn't matter as much. But we're gonna pay some bills and then talk game theory, folks. Jazz Casino coming up.
Jazz, sportsbook, casino, and racebook, the world's best resource for all-purpose online wagering. For over 20 years, Jazz has provided the best and quickest payouts in sports and entertainment wagers. Live sports betting, covering all the major sports leagues, and even into the new and exciting world of esports. Down the stretch you'll come, with Jazz's online horse wagering. Get paid when you play with Jazz's fun and exciting online casino games. Go online now and use the promo code TSS for our new members deals. Jazz Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook, the world's best resource for online wagering.
So 3 letters, it's TSS. You could figure it out. So game theory. Justin brought this up. There's been a rise of what's called the Uber Flex, where we transition to fantasy to where there is less set positions and then more flex positions. I've seen some where you have 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and then you have like 8 flex spots, essentially. Like you got quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. I've seen some that are all flex. I think this is blasphemy and lazy, and you should never do this. I'm against this. This is wrong. If this was a church, I'd be Westboro Baptist Church against this. I'd have a sign, and this is awful. I don't want this at all. Andrew, what do you think? Go ahead.
I 100% agree with you that it takes the value out of a lot of players. I mean, so you're going to have what's going to happen is you're going to have 1 or 2 teams in your league that just drafts nothing but wide receivers. And then there's just going to be this massive skew in the league about where the points are coming from. And if there's any change in the style of play in the NFL at any point, it wrecks the entire kind of balance of the league. I'm not a fan of this. It takes the fun out of trading. It takes the fun out of all the strategy to me. No, let's keep position sets. I'm cool with like 1 flex, 1 super flex, something like that. But I'm a bit more of a traditionalist in that sense, I guess.
Yeah. So Justin, this was your idea. What is your opinion? Because like where I'm at, and the reason why is that like I am a nerd and I like playing football D&D. So I want to simulate football as much as possible. And
Amen.
I cannot put out a team with all wide receivers. So I'm just like, why don't we just guess who the highest scoring players are at this point?
Best ball, but you can change your lineup. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Where are you at with this?
Hey.
With this
So I am totally down for this experiment, and it's because I love the idea of just going out there and getting your best guy on the board. Just fucking go out there and say, oh shit, look at that, it's Garrett Wilson. Fuck the fact that I need a running back. I'm gonna go with Garrett Wilson right there. I like that. I am down with going out and making my best roster. And Andrew, you said, what if somebody gets all the wide receivers? Well, that's going to be impossible because everybody's going to have the same scheme. So you're still going to have that feel of like you're going to need to get running backs. You're going to need to get tight ends and stuff like that. Not everybody's going to just shoot for 1 through 69 on wide receiver because you're going to be missing a lot of points on the board. But it's going to be interesting to see who overloads on the running backs, who overloads on the tight ends, who does all this because, at the end of the day, you're just going to have an open playing field. I don't know. I like the concept. I've wanted to try out a league for myself, and maybe it'll blow up in my face when I do it. Maybe I'll just be getting all frustrated because everybody takes the wide receivers that I want. But Yeah, shit.
I mean,
thought might
it
as
takes
well.
away like
Might as well
leverage you
propose
have
it.
over teams in trade negotiations too, though. Like because you can leverage teams like, look, you got no bench running backs, or you got you have 2-3 star running backs with no receivers. Like it takes away a lot of the fun for me in trading and trying to manipulate people into thinking a way that they're winning this trade. And that's a lot of fun in fantasy football for me is literally sending nonstop trades all week where I'm just trying to fuck with people.
Yeah, it's like you said, you have no running backs, and I have one I don't care about. So it's
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
But I swear he's gonna be good.
So Chuck, you're a degenerate just like the rest of us. Have we gotten to the point with fantasy where we're like that couple that like we've done all the drugs and weird stuff, now we're trying swinging and polyamory? Because like that's what this feels like now, and it.
Dude, no, you're right on. You're right on. Like having a structured lineup, it's like a condom. It's a necessary buzzkill. You have to be able to have, because if you take away that restrictor plate, people like me who are able to identify high value players are just going to put people out of business. And I like the sense of community we all have. I don't know. I like the idea of you have to conform. You have to conform to something. Let's see how good. It's like blackjack. You have to be as good as you are given the hand. How can you play your way out of this hand? Because otherwise people are just gonna they're gonna take it to the maximum limit, or not maximum limit. It's like, you know what I think it's like? Actually, I'm sorry. It's like super flex. Like some guy just sucked ass at picking quarterbacks and he got tired of it. So he's like, fuck it, we're adding another quarterback. Like that's just for people who can't figure out the best possible lineup with the given positions. And that's my 2 cents on that.
You know how many people would just.
So you hate best ball is what you're saying?
I hate
because
best
it takes
ball.
away the strategy.
I love
because it takes away the strategy of actually knowing who to play during that time.
I love best ball brought to you by Underdog. Promo code TSS, get 100% match every time that you deposit.
Yeah,
these are not live.
I love it. Can you just see the see the other thing from a draft standpoint? I could just see the rise in auto drafters in that scenario.
Yeah,
because you're just setting it cute.
Yeah,
exactly. You're just playing math. You're playing math at that point. You're like, who do I project the most points? And then there's zero gamesmanship. There's zero gamesmanship, and it's like you said, you can make tweaks. You can add a quarterback. You can add an extra tight end spot. Again, you could do weird stuff.
You could throw in stipulations like half points per, yards for 10 yards or so, an extra half point to a running back. You could also throw in stipulations of 0.1 yard or 0.1 points per carry. You can throw shit like that in there and really fuck with people's strategies. See, that's the thing I don't think everybody's really evaluating here is you can really have fun with that type of an open format. I'm just saying, I love it. I love the idea of it. I'm done playing devil's advocate.
It's very much the rich get richer and the poor get poorer when you have that format. Like we're gonna become big business and we're gonna kill all the small businesses and they're all gonna
doing all those point manipulations. Just like I get what you're saying. Like that would technically, it's like
it would make you think about it.
It would make you think about it. Sure, but that just seems like a lot of work to kind of get back to exactly what we already have, but just different.
Yeah. So basically, what we've learned is Justin's on some freak shit. So while we got like 5 minutes, so I want to talk about another topic that's in the same ballpark of game theory, and that is people want to eliminate the tight end position, and this is laziness, folks. This is laziness. If anything, I want to add tight ends. I want to stress you. I thought we got lazy when we took away the kicker. When we took away the kicker, we started turning away from God at that point, in my opinion. So
the kickers were our golden idol.
It's where
let's not push it, all right? Let's not fucking push it. It's this kicker shit.
It's the slippery slope, Chuck. It started with kickers. So
first they came for the kickers, and I said nothing. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So you're the freaky deaky one. Are you one where it's just like we gotta have tight ends or nothing. Like we're either gonna go all the way flex or you're gonna have tight ends. Or are you just there's just to me there seems to be no laws in your household. So like, what do you?
I like
straight up. I'm a masochist. I love the fucking idea of injecting Tyler Conklin into my lineup. I love that type of pain.
Yeah.
If Give me all the Cade Ottens. Ooh, inject that into my vein.
If Cole Kmet can start in the NFL, he could start on a fantasy lineup. That's my opinion. That any starter
if he did what he did last year, sure.
Which is nothing. Chuck, Chuck, you're with me on this one. Tell me, we got to get back to form here. You like tight ends for life, right?
I think that tight end is the most important position in fantasy football, more so than quarterback. And I think I like the idea of positions that I like the idea when you're drafting is like what I perceive as an advantage, you might perceive as a disadvantage. Maybe I think an early tight end is an absolute like a roster raiser, and you're like, fuck that, I can get like a stream tight end late. I love those competing. That's like communism versus capitalism. I love the competing ideas in the sphere of influence, and you can't just eliminate one of them. Like we have to keep them in the game, and fuck people who get rid of tight end.
Yeah, like my craziest league is actually a full point premium double tight end league. So like I had to like basically go out in the streets on my knees and beg for Tyler Conklin. Like Justin jokes about Tyler Conklin. I might as well have a shrine to him because he won me money to have him in my tight end 2 spot. So Andrew, where are you at on the tight end? Tight end for life? Like, are we gonna stick to the old ways, or are we gonna go to this?
I'm cool with keeping it. Don't get rid of the tight end. That's just getting silly. That's almost as silly as an Uber flex that someone else threw out there at some point or another.
Yeah.
So keep the tight end. Look, if anything, I would be perfectly on board with a tight end premium league, or if you're going to add a second tight end, as long as you're not removing another position, I'm fine with even a second tight end slot that's just added to the current structure of your team. So that's fine with it, but don't get rid of tight ends. Come on. Kickers getting rid of, like, that's a totally different argument that I know why a lot of leagues got behind, and I know why a lot of leagues kept. I get it, but tight ends going too far.
So do you guys, I want to just ask real quick, do you guys like the idea of a 2 tight end? Because I'm thinking about this now for a league. Do you like the idea of having 2 tight ends as opposed to tight end premium?
No, it actually really sucks.
All right, good
but
talk.
That's because I did a bad job. I did a bad job drafting. It's totally biased. Like, it's fucking miserable, man. Like, I couldn't even draft in our rookie draft. I couldn't get one. I'm like, can I get Darnell Washington? They're like, F you, kid. No.
Yeah, I think tight end premium is more interesting to me than 2 tight ends, just because, like you're alluding to, the odds of there being 24 in a standard 12-team league, 24 relevant tight ends that can be on a team is just kind of outrageous.
Well, my question to you would be, my counter to that to be, wouldn't tight end premium just accentuate the already disparity between the elite tight ends and the not? Like, it's just a little bit more of the same in my mind, as opposed to, that's just how I feel about it.
It just gets them all more closer to the wide receiver output, to where I think it really all it does is make trades and drafting more interesting. Is really what it would do, in my opinion.
It definitely makes drafting more interesting. The only tight end premium league I've ever been in, Kyle Pitts went number 1, and I was just like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Makes me sick.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like that Devy league I was in, it was a Devy
still alive.
Like yeah, he is. The startup where people were like, I'm taking Brock Bowers. I'm like, it's the 4th round. And I'm like, I'm doing late round tight end. I am screwed for years, folks. Like I ain't ever getting a tight end, man. All right, guys. We'll end it right there. Thank you for watching our show. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. Again, I am Just Jagger at Fantasy Blue Chip. I got to tone it down. And then we have Chuck Bass. It's Chuck Bass, everyone. The host of This Guy Sucks. It's Chuck Bass, everybody. And then Fantasy Jesus. You can find him at SimTexMess93. And then Andrew Leduc, Real Mr. Mallard. We'll be back next week, folks. We're doing big things. Again, I'll tell you, use code TSS. Love you. See you guys next week.
Undergo.